You're watching Palatinate TV.
Hello everyone, my name's Theo, I'm a news reporter at Palatinate, and these are the interviews for the 2021 SU elections. Today we've got Robert Smith, who's running for one of the 4 trustee roles going up next week. So Robert, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Robert Smith. My pronouns are he, him. I'm at Aidan's College and I study physical geography.
Brilliant. Right, let's jump in first and foremost. So most students will not really have heard of trustees and not really be familiar with exactly what the role is and what it entails. So how would you summarize what the role involves?
Sure, this is an issue that we've had in Aidan's as well, as we've only became an independent charity in August. So the way that we kind of framed it within Aidan's is that it's a group of individuals that provide oversight for the organisation, that provide governance for the organisation. I think that's probably the simplest way to do it. I mean, for us in Aidan's, it's a bit different because we were leaving kind of the governance of the university, and so it has a lot of appeals for us, kind of bringing that governance in-house, having students sitting on that board, providing that oversight, along with kind of experienced experts from various industries. But yeah, overall, I'd just say it's a group of people governance for the organisation.
Gotcha. Okay. So next, would you like to explain why you decided to run for the role? What about it made you think that you'd be suited for it?
Sure. So as I mentioned, I was currently a trustee of St Aidan's JCR. I've really enjoyed that role. I spent the last 18 months transitioning Aidan's into independency from the university. I've really enjoyed getting to understand charity systems better, understand how trustee boards can be really effective in governing an organisation for its charitable aims. And so I wanted to kind of scale up from a college scale into a wider university scale with this role.
Gotcha. Okay. And so I assume that you think being trustee at Aidan's is good experience for this role. Do you have any other relevant experience that you'd like to explain?
Sure. This is my 4th year at Durham University. From day one, I've been involved in my JCR, so I've always had an interest in student community at Durham. That's ranged from vice treasurer of the JCR, and most recently policy framework officer, which is an exec role. So I think all of those provide really relevant experience for being part of an organisation that involves Durham students and is for Durham students. But I'd say, yeah, definitely obviously being a trustee of an organisation that involves Durham students, I think is a fantastic experience for this role.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. So next up, obviously we've touched on this before, but visibility of the trustee role is quite insignificant at the moment. So what would you do to improve the visibility of your role? How would you advertise what you're doing?
Yeah, it's a difficult one. I think just, obviously social media is a fantastic tool. I don't want to sound like I'm talking about it 10 years ago, but it still is a fantastic tool. It still is a tool that we all engage with every single day. I think just publicising what a trustee board is, how many people are on the trustee board, who are these people on the trustee board, and not just as a big old block of text. I think infographics can be a really good way of getting lots of information across. And I think just pointing people in the right direction. Myself, I've never really engaged with the SU. This is the first time I've ever engaged with the SU outside of just being a JCR capacity. And so I've learned a lot over the past of researching this role about what the SU does, and I've trawled through accounts online, and all the information's there. I just think a lot more could be done to make it accessible. So I think just pointing people in the right direction and showing that information through infographics would be a good way to achieve that.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. So something that we focused on a lot this election cycle, and something that we've asked a lot of other candidates across the other positions a lot, is how they feel about the democracy review, what their thoughts were. So if you'd like to explain how you feel about it.
Sure, it wouldn't actually be massively appropriate for somebody doing in a trustee position to talk about that, because as a trustee, you are in a position of governance. You don't have any kind of agenda. You're there to almost help steer the ship in terms of financial responsibility, ensuring it's following its charitable aims. So I wouldn't actually want to speak about that too much within the capacity of being a trustee.
Okay, that's fair. Completely understand. So last question, just full on free answer. Why should people vote for you? What's your main selling?
Sure, I think experience is my main selling point. You know, I'm a trustee of St Aidan's JCR, which again I've been elected to do. I represent students in that role, so I know how an organisation for Durham students should be governed well. I know what it involves. I'm very, very familiar with the governing documents, because lots of student unions are based off a very similar model. I'm very familiar with the Education Act because we have to engage with it every day with our relationship with the university. So I think my experience and knowledge is important, and I think just being able to have the right principles to ensure that decisions that are being made are genuinely in the best interest of its students, because that is ultimately what the students' union should be doing. And just ensuring that engaging with the material, making sure that every decision is being thought through properly and with the students at heart.
Brilliant. Well, Robert, thank you very much for coming. That's the end of the interview.